Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Riaad Musa. Yes, people, I used to be a GP, but I became a comedian because unlike this brah,
For me as a GP, there is only one choice.
I chose laughter as the best medicine. It's through comedy that we can see a different side to a story we thought we knew. Comedy is honest. It tells it like it is. Doesn't tiptoe around issues. It nudges us to address and talk about critical social issues in a more open way. And that's what we love about you guys, our viewers, your comments, the disagreements and discussions on all our various episodes. It keeps these topics top of mind and at the center. We're not sweeping these things under the carpet like our politicians prefer to do. No. So on that note, let's confront xenophobia in South Africa, or as we dub it, the hate movement. The hate movement. Because there's a lot of hate and vitriol and prejudice of foreign migrants going on. But also there's manipulation of the masses. And that's what we want to look at in this episode. Who is actually behind the hate? Who is stirring up the pot of resentment, the divide and conquer mentality, and why? I mean, between January and November 2023, there was a 62% increase in anti-immigrant conversations in South Africa on X. You know, Elon Musk's reinvention of Twitter. 62%. This is according to research by the Center for Analytics and Behavioral Change. The online conversations about immigrants garnered about 2.9 million mentions compared to 1.8 million mentions in the same period in 2022. That's over a million more. I mean, it's like hate is a currency that's beating inflation. We find that two main groups are responsible for promoting xenophobic views online. The first is Put South Africans First, and the second is Operation Dula. And there are, of course, other players interacting with and supporting these groups. Right. Okay, first of all, let's look at hashtag Put South Africans First, who call themselves a civil rights movement. Now, this goes down a bit of a rabbit hole, so just try and stay with me. I'll try and stay with myself. I'm not sure I'll be able to. Okay. Now, on Freedom Day 2020, the hashtag Put South Africans First campaign was launched online. And unlike other grassroots movements, this one appears to be well organized and sophisticated with its social network. Questions have arisen since its sinister start. Was it manufactured by a political party or political plays for political gain? In other words, to shift the focus and blame for South Africa's shortcomings to foreigners, or to scapegoat them for another reason? I wonder. Independent media organization Amabungani reported that there were two groups who were at the start of the Put South Africans First campaign on Twitter. First of all, it was Herman Mashaba's party, Action SA, and also the ANC Radical Economic Transformation offshoot party called the African Transformation Movement, or ATM for short. Oh, what a brilliant acronym. Quite dodgy, if you ask me. ATM, knowing how political parties use taxpayer money like they're drawing it from the machine. Anyway, so Action SA and ATM, they adopted the xenophobic nationalist messaging of Put South Africans First, but both denied being part of the movement's creation. The head of strategy at ATM was none other than Gupta associate and one-time spokesperson for Jacob Zuma, you guessed it, Mzwanele Jimmy Mani, who has since jimmied his way into the EFF. Now, someone should tell Jimmy that having a feather in your hat is not the same as having a feather in your cap. Maybe him and Big Tele can swap hat tips. Anyway, where was I? Okay. So Jimmy responded to Amabungani at the time by saying the following. For us at the ATM, the term Put South Africans First is first and foremost an acronym that predates all the dates that are part of your poorly researched analysis. Ooh, sassy Jimmy. He said the acronym is made up of the first letters of the ATM values, as enshrined in the constitution of the ATM, which dates back to June 2018. Our values are P for peace, U for Ubuntu, T for transformation, S for servanthood, A for accountability. Okay, that acronym is missing the F for first. I wonder what the F would stand for. Wow. Amabungani posed the question, were Action SA and ATM just unwittingly early adopters of a dangerous message, or were they in on the game? Huh? There are other groups that are supporting and sharing the Put South Africans First xenophobic views, like Operation Dula, which we'll get to, Sisonke People's Forum, the All Truck Drivers Forum, the group who want companies only to employ South African truck drivers, and Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association, MKMVA. Not to be confused with Jacob Zuma's new party, Umkhonto weSizwe. Now, I told you guys, you need to stay focused. You need to focus here. It's confusing. Now, apparently the idea of Put South Africans First as a movement goes back as far as 2008, according to Piet Rampedi. Yes, this is the same Piet Rampedi, that one. Yes. Also, Mario Khumalo's South Africans First party used the hashtag Put South Africans First when the party was registered in November 2016. However, the idea for the movement was first floated as far back as 2008 after the xenophobic attacks of that year. So Put South Africans First doesn't just allude to national pride, it infers prejudice on people who aren't South African. Whoever came up with the slogan of Movement First has succeeded in seeding an idea that creates division between South Africans and foreigners. And wherever the slogan, hashtag, and movement has touched, there have been instances of violence against African foreign nationals. Now, the second xenophobic nationalist group is Operation Dula. You've probably heard of them, but you might not have seen them, because they wear camouflage all the time. Where are they? Where are they? Dula means force out or beat back in Zulu. Their corporate and recruitment videos have Michael Jackson's song Beat It as their theme tune. Okay, that's not true. But that would be cool, right? It would be great for them, right?
It doesn't matter who's wrong or right. Just beat it.
Okay, maybe just me. Now, mentions of this movement started after the July 2021 riots when they got the charismatic ground force leader, Nhlanhla Lux Dlamini, who first made a name for himself by defending Soweto's Maponya Mall in the 2021 riots. While Operation Dula's online presence uses the hashtag of the same name, it adopts the Put South Africans First hashtag as well. And the X accounts retweeting them are the same profiles retweeting Put South Africans First. So there is an online connection between the two groups. Meanwhile, with Lux leading the movement on the ground, fueled by hate and bottles of ionized water, followed by members carrying South African flags made in China, the marches became more and more violent as Operation #Futsek conducted raids and threatened African foreign nationals across Gauteng, looking for undocumented immigrants. On April 7, 2022, the atmosphere of xenophobic hate came to a head once again as a mob in Diepsloot beat and set alight Zimbabwean gardener Elvis Nyati, killing him as they demanded to see his papers. May Elvis Nyati rest in peace. He is our own and he represents all of us. This violence is senseless and it's reminiscent of the violence from the apartheid era. Hate is a narrative of people trying to control us. I mean, can you imagine how terrified the children of refugees and foreigners must feel? I mean, they left their countries for a better life in South Africa, the country that showed the world in 1994 that we could transition peacefully to democracy. And let's show the world we can still be a beacon of hope and lead the way to peace and tolerance. Look, we don't know how these groups like Put South Africans First and Operation Dula are funded or by whom. I mean, Lux has stayed mum on this topic, but definitely shows who's your daddy when he flaunts his lavish lifestyle on the gram. He does have businesses, so he could be self-funded. Could be. He has since left the organization. However, the hate didn't die when he left. Of course not. They are still promoting prejudice to the disenfranchised South Africans and have registered as a political party with the IEC. I mean, just think about that for a moment. A political movement that has the core principles of hatred and fear of the other is now a registered political party as approved by the IEC. Where have we seen this before? What we do know is that the various groups are connected. They not only all use the hashtag Put South Africans First, they have the same high-profile influencers retweeting them, like the famous Ulerato Pillay, aka Sifiso Gwala, a known xenophobe. Their connections also link back to the RET faction of the ANC, Mario Kumalo of the South African's First Party is known to rub elbows with Jacob Zuma. And as previously mentioned, the African Transformation Movement, or ATM, has links to the Guptas. We've seen in the past how Zuma and the Guptas used Brit PR agency Bell Pottinger to manufacture a campaign to divide the South African public and divert attention away from the looting and pillaging of the country. Remember that. It also has been revealed that the Guptas actually used Indian troll farms to spread their divisive and dangerous campaign. And many still believe these networks, these sinister networks, have not been dissolved. They're still operating in some shape or form. And now, the scapegoat narrative has turned to who? The African foreign nationals, our neighbors. They are blamed for almost every ill of our country, from unemployment to crime and everything else that's wrong. We need to question everything we hear, and we need to condemn any person or organization that promotes hateful views of immigrants. Let's get our facts straight. We're going to do that. We'll actually take you through these facts in episode 3, so keep watching. And look, South Africans are fed up. That's true. We are fed up. It's upsetting. It feels like our country is at breaking point. And there's no doubt that the South African government has failed in its immigration policies and securing of our borders through proper border patrols and law enforcement. There's a lot of work to be done to stop people coming into the country illegally. But like Godfrey Mulawudzi from the Institute for Security Studies tells German media DW, we cannot take the law into our own hands.
If you speak about issues of undocumented migrants, that is not the issue of a vigilante group, of a mob, because that's what they are. That is the issue that the law enforcement, such as the police, Home Affairs Department, needs to take it up. So it does not give anybody a right as an individual citizen to go and knock on somebody's door and say, I want to enforce the law.
Exactly. No matter how you feel about our government, it's still their duty to enforce law and order and to patrol our borders. Cannot be like Dayton McKenzie running down alleged Zimbabwean migrants across the border.
Video.
That's not Operation Dula, that's Operation Butt Crack. Being an active citizen doesn't involve hate speech on social media, threatening foreigners and inciting violence and sliding into vigilantism. That's a slippery slope to an anarchic state where everybody loses, everyone. You only have to watch films like Hotel Rwanda, remember that, about the Rwandan genocide, or even Last King of Scotland, based on the Ugandan military dictator Idi Amin. You only have to watch those films to see what hate and division between people can actually lead to. So if you want to be a community activist, one small but important thing you can do is to support your local businesses, South African and foreign owned. All small businesses support jobs and contribute to our economy. Your community will be better off when everyone in it is actually working together. Right? So be kind, be cool, and let love win over hate. Until next time, we'll see you again.